Yeah.
But then if you're not able to show the business impact of that channel,
Yeah.
then you're not gonna have, they're gonna shut down the program very quickly, right? Like they're gonna be like, oh, little that actually takes at least for our average 3 touch points with the audience of an influencer before they warm up, before they trust that that creator actually likes that brand. He's not just being paid for like a one post. Thinking, I don't need exclusivity, I just need you to be authentic.
Yeah, let's restart that.
Okay.
Everyone, welcome to the pod. Today we have our special guest, Suki.
Hi.
If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Of course. So my name is Suki. I'm based out of Toronto. I lead the influencer program at Xero, which is a small business management platform. Service small businesses across the world. And yeah, I've been in marketing for over 12 years, just B2B tech my whole career. So
sweet.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
A lot of cool questions, especially on the B2B side. And it's been, tell me about like, I guess the journey, where you started, where you are now at like a high level, and then we can dive into the details.
Yeah, of course. So I think when I first started in marketing, influencer stuff wasn't a thing in B2B, I would say. So my background was more on the products marketing and partnership side. And then at Xero, that's what I started with 4 years ago, doing products marketing, specifically for the Canadian region. And then moved on to doing more partnerships, but thinking more like other tech companies that we have integrations with to serve a small business audience. And then we kind of started doing influencers here and there, just like each region where Xero is would have its own little thing, maybe depending on like if there's a campaign that would require an influencer. So nothing was really standardized. And we started seeing some potential, some growth, even though we didn't have that much measurement in place. We're like, can we standardize this? Can we have an actual program that's always running, that's very scalable? And I was like, yeah, I'll be happy to test something new. So even me, I'm kind of newish to the world of influencer marketing in that context, but it's super exciting.
Interesting. That's awesome to hear. So diving into it, I know you previously had a freelance operation going on, Trend Innovations.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that wasn't mine. So when I was in university, I was studying at McGill in Montreal, and I wanted to gain a bit more experience in anything like digital marketing. So there was this company called Trend Innovations, and they were this amazing couple, serial entrepreneurs, and they had multiple like different types of, like you wouldn't believe, they had like a spa, they had like an e-commerce, they were selling on Amazon. And so it's like, okay, you know, just manage like the websites, SEO, touching like on digital marketing, touching a little bit on social media, not influencer side, but it was kind of learning 5 different startups in just one. So like freelancer, but just for this company that had multiple other companies.
Wow, it's very interesting. That's so neat. I could imagine juggling so many things around it. And then after that, what brought you, to the next opportunity?
I think from there, I graduated. So of course, I was looking more into going back into tech, because when I was originally living in Morocco, I was working at Dell, which was my first kind of like big tech company. So I wanted to go back to the industry. And then I worked at Thales, which was a French group on big data analytics and AI, even back then, before AI stuff.
That was before AI was cool.
Before AI was cool. And then I moved to Toronto and worked at Hootsuite, which was my first Canadian tech company, which was very exciting. And that was kind of my first word in terms of social media, influencers, creator economy started becoming a thing more on the consumer side, standardized way of doing these things. So it was always kind of interested in the world of social media.
That's cool. And what was your first contact to influencer marketing on the B2B side? Like, tell me, how was the first campaign? How did that come about?
It honestly was, when we first started, we didn't necessarily have a plan. We just wanted to know that we wanted to standardize the program. The easiest way for us, or the first thing that we've done, is just basically search ourselves on social and see who are the influencers already talking about us organically. And at that time, there was a lot of YouTube tutorials, because it's an accounting software at the end of the day. So a lot of small businesses are not familiar with how to use it, how to set up their books. So we found these amazing, like most of them were like accounting creators. And we just reach out to them like, hey, you're already talking about Xero organically. Would you love to partner with us? And those were our first advocates that we signed up into the program. And then we started targeting other accountants or small businesses that would talk about small business management, but not necessarily Xero. And then work ourselves through like testing different tiers, testing different verticals, and then and we've learned as we are doing things with them. Like they taught us as much as we now, like, oh, they want a brief that has this, or they want to be paid a bit faster because, you know, like they don't want to deal with procurement. So we literally like continued getting better as we work with more creators.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess what would be a framework, or what I guess is the structure of a good influencer marketing program, at least in your eyes?
Yeah.
You know, based on Xero and your other experiences at Hootsuite.
Yeah, I think to set it up properly at the beginning, it takes time. Sometimes you just want to run fast from the beginning, which you can test the water and change your strategy as you go. But I would say having templates in place for every part of the journey, from contacting the influencer all the way to the content going live, makes it more repeatable. Before, it used to be each time we have to do, for example, a contract, we're starting over, we have to deal with legal. We're like, how about we templatize it? How about we make it easy? How about we try to have a brief that's general enough and just like one section where we change it based on the region or based on the campaign.
Right.
So anything that's repeatable in terms of process is really what gets you to move fast. And then the second thing I would say is having measurements in place from the beginning, because a lot of brands, and I see it especially on the consumer side or B2B, we just do influencers for the sake of doing influencer. Oh, people are doing it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
But then if you're not able to show the business impact of that channel, then you're not gonna have, they're gonna shut down the program very quickly, right? Like they're gonna be like, oh, it's nice, we got 5 views or whatever, like who cares? But if you have the right performance metrics, the right measurement, having the right audience of the content creator, those are the things that a business at the end of the day cares about.
So on that note, I wonder then, when it comes to measuring the success of a program, so my first question would be, what are the metrics or like KPIs that you do use to measure success, and then how do we do it? I guess starting with that one. So you mentioned success. Let's say someone wants to, you know, they started the influencer program, they want to scale it. What's the KPI? What's the metric they should look at?
They definitely should look at return on investment, and that one is a bit easier. You should know what is the lifetime value of a customer for your business. And so let's say an influencer quotes you, I don't know, like $1,000. I'm just speculating here. But then your lifetime value of a customer is, I don't know, like 500. Then you already know, even like looking at the audience of that influencers, and let's say like 2%, of, like we have like, now we built like a return on investment calculator to be like, okay, based on the conversion rate that we usually see from these type of activities, and here's the quote of this influencer and our lifetime value, then is this a good deal? Should we proceed or should we not proceed? So that, to make it a bit less sophisticated, I think just looking at like cost per mil, some brands care about that. The cost per paying org, which is like the cost of basically conversion. And so those are kind of like the very hard performance ones. And secondary is always like the engagement, positive sentiment, views, reach, things like that.
That's an interesting positive sentiment. How do you measure that?
That one, there's tools now that can help with social listening and stuff like that, especially but for those ones, the influencer needs to tag the brand so that we're able to like as well be able to see what are the sentiments or the conversation happening in the comments. But it's very important to have, I would say, those type of secondary metrics. But the number one for me stays performance.
I then wonder, so we hear like tons of companies have different opinions. We'd love to hear yours. Some think, I want to break even on cost to acquire customer, CAC in 30 days, and then make it back over LTV of the customer, 6 months or whatnot. Some companies say I need the 2 to 3x ROAS in the next 30 days, and then fine with extras LTV. What is your opinion on number for ROAS and the payback period for scaling? So like company wants to grow, what kind of benchmarks do you have?
I don't do that just because for me, if you're doing it that way, it's like it's a little bit less flexible. I would say, especially in social channels where content stays evergreen. So for example, YouTube.
Very true.
You can't be like, oh, this thing like has to have a return on investment after 30 days. Because literally we've seen some content that we produced last year for some reason, like now doing 300,000 views, and like what's going on? And then we realized the video was about like how to file for taxes for your small business. And it really depends on the seasonality. So when the creator launched it last year, it wasn't the right season, and then it picked up when it was. So how can you measure that? How can you go back if you're doing thousands of videos per year too. So for me, it's not about the immediate. It's just kind of like minimizing the risk, like because the creator can be something extremely expensive and the return of investment will be so low. So give it a chance, but then also wait for that compound effect, which happens with social media a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And when it does come time to make that compound effect with like a longer term partnership, we always, when we're talking with people on the podcast or ourselves, there's different structures for long-term partnerships. What is your opinion on getting a long-term partnership to get an influencer invested in like, you know, posting your brand, promoting it?
For me, it's so important. I think that one of the mistakes that I've made at the beginning of the program was doing a lot of one-offs because I was scared, you know, like it's influencers in general is not a cheap channel. So you're like, I'm just going to test like one thing. And then if it doesn't work out immediately, I'm just going to stop with that creator. And then we realized a little by little that actually it takes at least for our average 3 touch points with the audience of an influencer before they warm up, before they trust that that creator actually likes that brand. He's not just being paid for like a one post.
Right.
So right now, for example, we try to do like multi-content package, at least the 3. Yeah. And then from those like first primary like results, kind of grow the relationship. We've had one where at the beginning it was 3 posts, and now we've been working with her for like almost 18 months and she's still growing. People associate her with the brand now. And she also creates a lot of organic content around us that we didn't even ask about, because generally she loves working with us, she loves working with the brand, and she genuinely uses it. So I would say always try to find, I know it's rare to try to find creators that actually are passionate about the brand and just like pay those instead of, you know, trying to get someone who doesn't care or who's doing just like...
Yeah, exactly, of course. Is there any strategies that you have for like finding, you know, the people that are already kind of passionate?
I always keep an eye on the ones talking about you organically. So,
Gotcha.
So like sometimes looking at like Xero, sometimes looking at lookalikes. Now there's so much sophistication as well with AI, like looking at our best performance in the program, trying to find audience lookalike and then like outreaching to those. And then the really, really good thing too is, at least in our industry, they know each other. Like for example, accountant creators know each other. If they love working with us, they would recommend us to one of their friends that also like talks about accounting or small business, and then they would make the introductions. I would like, yeah, we would love to test working with you. So the word gets out, and then people like generally like how we work with them, how we pay them very fast. We make sure that they're happy working with Xero. We make it easier for them so that they start advocating for us like kind of naturally.
Yeah, I've heard you guys, I think, have one of the best influencer programs. Like even looking at, you know, Suki, Amin, an influencer who I think either he's an affiliate or pay basis. But you know, you mentioned positively, like you guys have one of the best payouts as well for influencers, like the most generous. Yeah. So like that's, I'm sure, helped incentivize influencers to keep coming back because it's, you know, it makes sense.
It's true. No, and honestly, we are like that because we do see it, at least from my side. I want it to be a win-win relationship for both the brand and for the influencer. And I always said, even internally, I want people to really enjoy working with us because it makes a huge difference. Because we hear a lot of nightmare stories from the influencers with other brands. Some of them come to us and it almost they look a bit traumatized. Like they have all these like red lines and we want to be paid before the content. I'm like, of course we're gonna pay. There's no way we're not. They're like, no, but you don't understand. There's been stories. I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. And I wonder what's your thoughts on micro, medium, macro size influencers?
Oh, that's a loaded question, just because I had thoughts before that I changed my mind. So last year, when we first started, and I was telling you I was going through the ones that already were talking about Xero organically, and those tended to be on the smaller side, between 10 to 50,000 influencer like followers. Yeah. And then the cost per paying org for those ones were some of the most efficient ever. So they had a small niche audience, but they really, really trusted them. They converted really well. And I'm like, okay, there's no need for us to do mega influencers because first of all, they're going to cost a lot of money. They're going to bring us awareness, but from a return on investment perspective, it's not going to be as good as the other one. Yet I tested, I was like, but you know what, I could be wrong. So I did test one that was really expensive, but the return on investment was amazing. And also on the secondary metrics in terms of awareness, the cost per mil, the engagement and stuff like was very, very impressive. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I was wrong about mega influencers, and we are doing more, at least trying to have 2 or 3 per region.
Oh, interesting.
So kind of have that balance of not doing the smaller ones and just focus on the mega. I think just having that mix. I would say though, for the nano ones, personally, I don't like them too much, just because I notice the smaller they don't know necessarily how to work with the brand. So sometimes like it could cost me that much time for like one nano as much as like let's say a mega in terms of the content going live, because they need more like hand holding and stuff like that,
makes sense.
which I don't have necessarily the time for that. And then they're not going to have the same results as the bigger ones. So I'd rather, it would need to be like 10 nano, for example, to do the results of like a meet. And do I have the time for the 10?
Right.
Does that make, so sometimes that's why the brands have to do, Yeah,
that makes sense. And then like, when you said the mega, how big are we talking? Like, what was the biggest influencer you sponsored in terms of like followers or I don't?
I think for us, we've done, I forgot his name, Kevin something. He had like 4.6 million.
4.6, wow.
So he's more known in his community of doing a lot of like tutorials and long formats about tech companies or like apps, things like that. And then we do generally, like for us, mega, anything over like 1.5 million, for us we consider a mega. And then we're trying to see as well if we can do, it depends. So like it could be a mega in our head, even though it's like less than 1 million, if they're also kind of a celebrity. So one of the ones that we've partnered with in Australia, his name is Davey Fogarty. He's
I'm familiar.
You know him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
His name sounds very familiar. I swear I've seen his videos.
Because he is some sort of like a millionaire. He was in an Australian Shark Tank.
Oh, that's definitely
that's
rare.
how you know.
That's
and he has like
rare.
a multi-billion-dollar brand that he created
Sweet.
in e-commerce. So that one, for example, very, very, because his audience really follow him because they're founders or they want to create a small business. So it has been a perfect, and he's been using Xero since the day one.
Really?
Can you believe
since
that?
Day one? Okay, well then
So that was like a match made in heaven.
Yeah. He's like, I love this feature, this feature, this feature.
No, I look at his like script. I'm like, it's approved. Like you know more than me probably. So it's fine.
That's cool. How do you go about like, so when it does come time for like the mega influencers, how does that process work? How do you make sure, because I know the mistakes there are a lot more costly with nano. So what are your thoughts there?
I think, that was the other thing with mega that's difficult is the internal stakeholder management. Just because a mega influencer, especially if they're also like celebrity adjacent, could impact negatively the brand if there's some sort of scandal, something that they said on Twitter in 2016. So there's more vetting that goes into it before.
Right.
And then from their side as well, there's more stakeholders. They probably have legal themselves, they have assistants, they have this. So the process honestly takes a bit longer to get going. But once it's done and once that relationship is going, then it makes it easier to continue working with them. So it's always the beginning that's hard.
100%.
But it's difficult but rewarding process for sure.
Yeah. And when it does come time to like make the whole package with mega influencers, celebrities, what would you recommend to like anyone that's putting together a deal? Like, is there any certain like, deal format, time lengths, like if they want to work with them in the long term? How does that all work?
Well, generally the bigger they are too, they have their own requirements as well. They also don't like to do one-offs.
Right.
And they are allowed to be more they don't necessarily mean that you're going to give them money that they want to work with you, right? Like they really want to know what is the brand, why their audience should care. They're more protective of their credibility with their audience sometimes. So it's kind of trying to be flexible to meet them where they are. And then also showcase the value that Xero had. I literally had to pitch them. I'm like, I think this could be really good for your audience because your audience is this and this, and this is what we can help with, and we can offer them a better deal than they would find like on our website, for example, to kind of try to sweeten the pot a little bit and just working with them through their timelines as well.
100%. Yeah, and I wonder with like exclusivity, usage rights, that game there, where do you sit with that?
I personally, I don't care for exclusivity, to be honest. I think sometimes the brand pay extra for that. I understand not having an influencer posting about you and posting about a competitor the day before. But then telling the influencer you can't work with this brand for like a whole year, I think it's a mistake. a partner with a US influencer who's an accountant creator. And in her YouTube program, she talks about us and she talks about our competitors all the time. And if anything, I feel like it helps with legitimacy, with credibility, because we're not good for all small businesses, right?
Very true.
There could be a small business that's like a solo founder that is pre-revenue, but still needs to do their bookkeeping. And maybe Xero is not the right solution. The same way it could be that it's a business with 200 employees and multi-currency and then we wouldn't be good for. So I like that she gives them choices, and and she's one of the best performing one that we have in the program. And so like when I see examples like this, I'm thinking I don't need exclusivity, I just need you to be authentic. And then for usage rights, we started asking for them recently. We didn't use them before, but I think it's a good way to for the content to not just stay organic. There's so much more that you can do with a really nice piece of content. We've been trying this year whitelisting, which has been performing so well for us, and then for the creator as well.
Nice.
So yeah,
it's awesome.
Thank you. So anything to extend the shelf life of a piece of content that's good quality, we're there.
I hear with whitelisting, I hear there's so many ideas. Some people say, hey, you should get the influencer to make like 10 pieces of UGC and then swap out the hooks and then run those as ads. Like, I don't know if you guys have any, or if you have a perspective on like, hey, what's a good way to do whitelisting? Is there any like frameworks that you've developed or something like that?
So we look at them differently. UGC, it's different in the sense of like it's much smaller creators. It doesn't sit with my program. It's more like, as you said, it's the hooks, it's 30 seconds, it's like quick, let's make a lot of these. With whitelisting, we found that it's performing so much better because the name of the creator is attached to it. So somebody like is stopping from the scroll because they're recognizing an influencer that they follow and they're like, I want to watch this video, it doesn't even look like an ad. So that's why, and then it also taps into not the lookalikes of Xero's audience, it's the lookalikes of the audience of the creator. So that's why whitelisting has been, in my opinion, working much better, is tapping into audiences that we wouldn't know about your brand to begin with. So I recommend for all the brands to try.
I know like what we've done is looked at a bunch of influencers, sponsored a bunch, and then found which ones work best organically, and then just went whitelisting on those influencers. I don't know if you found a similar pattern or?
I think at the beginning we were when we were trying to test it, and it's a bit complicated because whitelisting goes through multiple different teams. We were like, okay, let's just see what are all the organic content that we have in a specific region. We always try to test one region, and we put them all in one ad campaign, and they've been performing so well. And then when we extended it, basically now almost all the pieces of content that we produce organically, we whitelist as well.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we're just like, let's do it all.
See what
happens.
Of course, 100%. And where do you see, like from your experience, where do you see micro, or nano creators fitting in and macro creators? Like for what situation should companies use either?
I think it depends. I think if you have a brand moment, you have a really, really big campaign coming up, you want to use it for more than just acquisition or performance, you care about brand awareness or the legitimacy, credibility that a mega influencer could give you. I think that's where I've seen most brands use it. In my opinion though, I still use it for acquisition purposes. I still like give them a link and I still tell them, can you please like share with your audience that. So for me, it doesn't mean that you have to choose between acquisition and brand. You can leverage the same influencer across multiple types of content and see what happens. And then for the nano and the micro, I think it's to always have new contents. I think as the algorithms change, as social media attention span is getting like lower, you want
less than 2 seconds now.
Less than 2 seconds. I literally is like, your hook rate is this. But
0.1 nanoseconds.
Exactly. So I think you need to have a mix of both. But the smaller ones is more, I've seen it more for like paid ads, creatives like that.
Yeah, that's cool. And I did read in your LinkedIn job title, it's global marketing manager. So tell me, like, what does that mean?
It literally means global.
Taking care of the entire world.
Exactly. So Xero exists across, like it's been used across 180 countries, which I was like,
sweet.
Oh my gosh,
congrats.
that's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's a lot of, but we're not influencer-wise, we're not in all those markets, but the 3 ones where we have the biggest presence, which is the US, the UK, and Australia, we partner with like local influencers. Each market, basically, we try to find the right talent there. And then we also launched just a few weeks ago influencer programs as well in South Africa and Ireland. And then the good thing sometimes too is some markets are a bit similar. So, for example, we've been recruiting influencers in Canada that have 50% of their audience US based. So it means that those ones we can tap into both Canada and the US for influencers. The same with Australia and New Zealand. Someone who's in New Zealand could have like followers that are Australian. So that's why the beauty of influencer program in general is when you see the data and the performance, it really lifts across even the markets where you don't have a specific talent, just because the audiences are kind of global now. You knew about Davey Fogarty and he's based in Australia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true. And I wonder, have you guys also looked at different languages, like, I don't know, European, different, like, you know, Spain, France, or like Middle East or South Africa? Or...
No, so with South Africa, yes, because they do conduct business in English. I think that's the thing, because our platform is English-based. So unfortunately, we're not going to look at Spain or France, although I wish. But we have also done some stuff in Dubai, because a lot of British people actually go and do their businesses from there. So anywhere that's more English-speaking, we have Singapore, Hong Kong as well, Malaysia. So anywhere where business could be conducted in English will be there.
Very, very interesting. And here's some like fun ones for you. This is like segueing into a new topic, but what would you say are some of your favorite campaigns that you've seen? Whether it's your campaigns or campaigns you've seen, just like your favorite influencer campaigns.
I think one that I saw recently, it's so recent, I think just from this week, is so WhatsApp created, I think this is very like influencer first campaign, and which are my favorites. I like it when it's very specific to the channel. And basically the idea or the premise is about like group chat. So they started with like one influencer talking about like moving his group chat to, you know, WhatsApp. And then somebody, like another influencer, reacted to that one, and they're kind of friends, or at least in this campaign they're friends, and like, oh, you know, this guy wants to move like my... So it's almost like Inception in my head, where it's the same idea and they're having influencers react to the first video, to the first...
Interesting.
And then you're getting the audiences of all of them, because now I got curious. I'm like, wait, what is the video that he's reacting to? Let me go see his profile.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like it when it's in that way. Something that we've tried similarly, but not as fun as WhatsApp, we don't have the budget, is I try to, so instead of one of my the influencers to just prepare like a piece of content about Xero, we got them to invite another influencer that we have into their webinar / like YouTube video.
Oh, sweet.
And so it was very exciting, because that person, or the influencer that we partnered with, didn't originally want to work with us. Like, he's very focused on our competitor. He knew our competitor for the longer time and stuff like that. So he's like, oh, I think my audience is gonna think I'm biased if I talk about another brand, because you're just paying me. Like, how about we don't have someone from Xero? How about someone like a colleague of yours that is in our influencer program? And then we're not gonna give you a brief. We're not gonna ask you to say word for word anything. We're not even gonna ask you to endorse it. Just have a proper, like an organic conversation, like we're having right now.
Wow.
And so that was a huge risk to take, because like we basically had no creative control on what was the content, the topic and stuff. But it ended up being like one of the best pieces of content that we've done.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is really cool. That's cool.
Thank you.
Sweet. And I was reading as well, I know you mentioned in your profile, one of the things that you did was manage a bunch of agencies. Yeah. So I'd love to hear, what was that like? Yeah, walk me through that. That'd be cool to hear about.
I think, of course, for a program to scale that much, you do need partners, you do need agencies. And then we also grew the relationship within the same agency that we would have, like having more people.
Sweet.
But then at the same time, let's say the agency is North America based, they may not know locally some other markets. So we kind of try to partner as well with diversified group of agencies. I think at the beginning it's hard, because they don't know the brand, or they don't know how we work, or processes, or compliance, all the things. But honestly, like once you take that time to onboard them, treat them as an extension of your team versus that client agency relationship that used to happen. For me right now, I'm thinking of them as like part of my team. They know Xero, they love Xero themselves, they can talk about Xero in their sleep. And so now they're at the point where I trust them fully, that they can review content on my behalf. They can make decisions on, I think this creator could be a good one for Xero and stuff like that. So it's almost that they feel as well as part of the brand, and they can advocate and make the deals more automatically. Yeah.
Cool. And where do you see an agency? What is, I guess, for you the value proposition in having an agency?
I think there's a lot of relationship management in creator programs, at least the good ones, because again, you're not doing the one-offs. You want to continue having a long-term relationship with the influencer. And I want the influencer to have literally like a human, so that if there's an idea that they have, they could be like thinking of something like, oh, I think this could be a good fit for Xero. Let me like message Xero. And so I didn't want them to have like a faceless relationship. So they help with that. They create their own relationships. They also help with the process of like identifying the influencers, doing the first outreach, negotiating the rates. So they really make it very easy for us to be able to scale.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always interesting seeing, because I know different brands have different ways of working with different agencies. So it's all like,
Yeah.
I
was going to say, even stories from agencies that we've heard, like for example, I hear some brands hiring an agency, but then being there every step of the way, like the scripts that they want to be part of, they want to be part of reviewing every little word, and then being very, very prescriptive, because again, with the influencer marketing being the new field, a lot of brands take it as another brand channel almost, where you go word for word. I want this influencer to say this and this and this. Can he wear this color? Can he wear like a t-shirt of
the color is crazy.
The color is crazy. So then they do a lot of babysitting and policing, and so then then they're surprised that the agency is not performing well. And I'm like, but you've been like blocking every step of the way. That's why you just did like 2 pieces of content this month instead of like 100. Like you have to enable your people and then trust them to do the job. Yeah,
100%. I'm fully in that boat. Fully in that boat with you. Yeah, that's cool. And I know people allocate budgets differently. I wonder, what is your perspective on like, hey, like, you know what, let's do this thought experiment. Let's say you had 50 million in spend that you can spend on influencers. How would you, like, let's say theoretically any company even that you want, how would you spend that to get the most bang for buck?
I think the way I would spend it is try to find at least, let's say 5. Let's say those are my 5 stable ones that they have the perfect audience fit for me. They are big enough, and then they are present in multiple platforms, because then I'm able. And actually, we just signed a deal like that with the founder, which is originally from Australia, but they have presence everywhere in the world.
Oh, wow.
And they've been using Xero from the beginning because it's Australia. So with those ones, they have podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, newsletter. Across the thing is like 10 million, like in their follower count, like just in general platforms. So I would want 5 of those, let's say, in that 50 million, and then making sure that I have always content running in multiple platforms. Then I would do like at least like 50% of them in my like that mid-size, very niche, but very specific to my industry. I think those ones, you always need to have the bulk of those, because they lower the cost, the cost per paying org so much. So you want to have a lot of these. And then you probably should create more of a commission base as well. Like I know creators like fixed fees, and we do give that, but then at the same time having that performance aspect makes it that they also want to use their link somewhere else. I've seen some using it in their email signatures or including it in newsletter and stuff like that, because the more they promote the brand, the more money they're gonna get. So it gets you more placement, let's say for free, not for free, but so something 100%. Like that.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's a really solid strat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we found like the diversity is really what helps, because you just need like all parts of the funnel.
Yeah.
Because if you go all in one, you're just like missing out one other part.
Exactly.
So that's cool.
But if return on investment wasn't the 100%, which company is not like that. I would want to do something creative with like one celebrity adjacent. So like
tell me more. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I would love to do something like more.
The sky's the limit.
The sky is the limit. Like it's 50 million. Like let's do, and then we've seen it too. Like some, traditionally like in ads on TV and stuff. And if you think about it, influencer marketing is kind of just that, but for social media. Yeah. You've seen like brands using like Ted Lasso, for example, because like for FIFA, for example.
Yeah.
Or someone reprising I think there was a payroll company that used Kevin from The Office.
Oh.
And they had him.
Ramp. I think that was Ramp.
Was it Ramp? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Ramp.
Partner of Xero. Did you see they had like a pop-up in like New York and he's like, like company is so easy that even Kevin can do it. And I don't even know if they had to pay usage rights to The Office to be able for him to reprise But yeah, something like that. Or I don't know if you've watched Schitt's Creek, obviously like a Canadian TV show. But there was like an episode of it where they were talking about like, Davey was like, oh, it's a tax write-off. And he's like, that's not a write-off. She's like, who's the write-off? He's like, oh, the write-off people. So imagine if someone like that take on the role and then it'd be like, oh, but with Xero, you don't have to do the tax write-off. Like, that could be a really... I thought about it right now. I think.
Yeah, those like viral trends, like the one you mentioned with Kevin.
Yeah.
They even had him like...
Yeah. In a
call, like they brought people, they had like people put on like bald wigs. Oh, really? And then he even went on the career ladder, which was like a little show by some like big creator. They made like a whole bunch of like...
Yeah, exactly. To extend the campaign beyond just that one video is like one umbrella theme and then you extend it through different... That's the type of thing that I think will be super creative. Mm-hmm. How do you measure performance with that one? I think probably brand awareness, but you can't really capture it. But it's iconic. It's one of the things that people would remember. You remember Dramp and you're not even in the industry. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Something interesting that we read about was Ahrefs, what they did. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's like an SEO tool. It's like SEMrush. It's like a tool that...
I know Ahrefs.
Yeah. So what they did when they first started their influencer marketing program, I was reading an article.
Yeah.
They gave just like a URL to sign up to the paid plan. That didn't really work. So what they did was lead people to a lead magnet, collect the information, put them in the sales team pipeline, and then they would get email marketing, whatnot. What is your take on capturing leads, especially since you're selling, B2B, especially on the smaller business side? How do you capture those leads, or even is that the right step?
We don't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
I know some people do like more leads, but I think it's if you are a sales, like you have a sales funnel, which in Xero, there's two sides of it. There's like the direct to consumer, the small business can buy the subscription directly from the website. It's not a very expensive, monthly subscription that you would need that long like sales cycle. The way like Ashraf, I think it is more enterprise type of customers. I think we use them. So that one you do need to speak to a human and having to go to account managers, set it up the plan properly for you. So I understand why you would do leads as the CTA. For us, we still think having
Cool. Yeah, cool to know. I just thought a lot of B2B companies, they do different things. But that makes sense because it's really
because we're
smaller.
not that expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is my plug to try Xero, guys, because it's not like
100%. Yeah. How much are the plans? Well, I guess they're...
It really depends because there's like multiple plans, but I think it starts at like $13, and I think the most expensive is $100. And then the $100 one is really for if your business is more complex, you have employees, you have like more. Like you need that data analytics in terms of like cash flow and stuff like that.
And being hit by like a tax warning letter is much more expensive than $100 a month. So
there you go.
Thank
you.
Yeah, that's cool.
This podcast is not sponsored by Xero, by the way. We'll talk. Okay.
Yeah. That's cool. One thing I read is you were using Partner Stack a lot for referrals.
Yeah.
And like affiliates. Now, one thing we've struggled with and we see a lot of marketers struggle with is how do you keep affiliates promoting month over month? We've had some ideas of even, I don't know if you're familiar with school.com, but school.com is like a platform where you can create a community in anything.
Okay.
And, the idea there is to put the influencers in a community so that way you can touch base and consistently, give rewards, and that way they can not just promote, a couple times on commission then forget. I'm wondering, what is your take on like I guess not getting the influencer, but keeping them and having them continually promote?
That's a good question. I think we considered community, but then that one would take so much like like human, like resources from our side to keep on top of the community. Then you have to manage the community. Maybe some influencers don't want to be added into a group, especially in B2B, some of them don't think of themselves as influencers. They think about themselves as thought leaders, or they're really known in the industry and they don't want to be, So we thought that it wouldn't work perfectly, but Partner Stack itself has some things that you can like communicate with the influencers / affiliates. You can create challenges as well, which I tested earlier in the year. I think I did it both ways. I did my 20 top performers, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking at your performance from last year. I'm looking at if you're able to do this by the end of the quarter, which was just like a 20% or 15%, then you'll get like, I don't know, like a 5,000 like bonus.
Sweet.
And so many, they were very engaged. Some like were competitive. They're like, oh, did I hit it? Did I not hit it? I'm trying to this new thing. And we even give them pointers of what they can do in addition. So that one worked. And then I had another challenge for like my non-existent, like dormant influencers. And I'm like, if you're able to just get like 5, like making it more attainable and then incentivize it. But surprisingly, that one didn't work as well as the top performer. So at the end of the day, maybe instead of spending time in the ones that don't want to help themselves or you, focus on the ones that are doing good, and then try to get 100%. More value from that.
Yeah, double down on what works. Yeah, of course.
There you go.
I agree 100%. I do know that you were speaking at Creator Economy Live. That was one of your posts.
Yeah.
I'd love to learn, what is your experience with like conferences like that?
Yeah, so spoiler alert, I didn't end up going because there was a flood in New York, so my flight got canceled. I spent the whole day in Billy Shop, and then that got canceled. But I did go to Creator Economy the year before.
Sweet.
An affiliate summit. They have it in Vegas, and then they have it in New York twice a year, so I went to the biggest one. Honestly, it was a very good experience because that's where actually I met the agency that were still like now leveraging. So sometimes you can use it for networking. If you go with a specific intention, whether you're looking for trends, you're looking what other like companies are doing, you're looking at platforms to try to find creators and stuff like that, I do think those events are useful, but you have to go with the plan. And I recommend going with a man or woman. Sometimes it's overwhelming to go to these things by yourself. 100%. So if you can go with your sister, that could be good.
100%. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I know I was reading you do a lot on the product side, or like you've been in the product space, right? I wonder, what's your thought process for like, you're getting into influencer marketing. How does your product background, like with value props, thinking about target avatars, how does that connect?
It was super helpful. I think that's kind of my secret sauce, is the fact that I was so close to the product. So even when influencers would have questions, whether like to verify their content, to verify the script, especially in the long format, I feel confident doing that. But at the same time, because of the product marketing background, I'm able to put myself in the position, because technically my clients are the influencers, right? I'm trying to recruit them. So I'm thinking, what is it in it for them? Why would they care about Xero? Why would they care about the program? So thinking about it that way too, as if they're my customers and they need to be happy, was super useful. But then at the same time, as I told you, knowing the product in a sense to simplify, because at the end we're looking at the influencers to simplify accounting, which is a complex for most people. So thinking about it in terms, I'm like, but your audience would care, because the biggest issue that they have right now in the US, for example, is that the biggest worry is cash flow for so many businesses. So not being paid on time is one of the other one. So kind of putting it in terms of perspective of what they feel versus like, this feature is in this, or this feature. It's more like, what is that feature for, and why it's very important for your small business to know about it.
Sweet. 100%. That's useful frame. It's cool to have that frame of the product, because a lot of decisions, when they come from that premise, like you're able to think really clearly.
Yeah.
That's cool. And basically, last one for you is, what is BLES, Les Atelier, about?
I love how you try to say it in French. It's so cute. So Bless Atelier is something that I've been working on the side. And basically it's kind of like an elevated essentials for everyday life. I always thought that, you know, I care too much about like objects that we carry. I want them to be not only like functional, but also beautiful, 100%. Have a story. It's, for example, sometimes like I would think of my grandma and remember something that she used to always have or always like used to use. So in a world where everything is digital, in my opinion, like, or notes or pictures, everything is somewhere digital. I wanted to bring back something that is, for me, you know, something that you can carry in your everyday life. First product that I'm launching, hoping end of September, is what I call le journal. And it's not journaling necessarily, it's just kind of like, for me, like a beautiful binder leather with beautiful inserts. And then it's kind of like you carry it around as you're thinking of something. The first step to make it real is to write about it. So, and then sometimes you come back to notes that you had like from years ago, and then finding that person that you used to be back then. So for me, having that physicality of an object, of your thoughts, is one of the things that I'm very excited to bring into market.
That is so awesome. And where can people find that, learn more?
So when you can go to blessedatelier.com. Right now is a trailer and kind of like pre-launch email, but I'm working in the background of the website, which is hard because I have like my full-time job with influencers and stuff, but I'm very excited about kind of like building it in public. I put that post on LinkedIn was like so nerve-wracking to announce it, and I'm like, now I have even more empathy for influencers because they have to put themselves out there and create content and stuff like that. Brands don't understand like how hard it is.
And where can people like watch you to build in public?
I'm posting more on LinkedIn. That's where, because you know,
that'll be linked in the description.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll start posting more on Instagram on the Blessed Atelier account as well.
Awesome. That'll also be linked in the description. So please check it out. Le journal is going to be very interesting. I have a lot of journal.
Really?
I have like 25 journals at home because I'm always thinking and I'm brainstorming and everything goes on paper.
It has to go on paper, otherwise in my head it doesn't. And then I used to have 3 notebooks as well, one for work, one for my ideas. And so I was like, I want something where I can put everything, but it has the tabs that I like from the laptop.
100%.
So that you can separate, but still in one beautiful thing. So I'll share it with you once it's launched.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, well, that's a wrap. Pleasure to have you, Suki.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome insights.
Thank you.
So